What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. Another big shout out to Scooby-Doo. I've got a lot of Scooby-Doo attire, a really great guy. Today I wanted to talk about basically the 4-man Terminator package that I've been playing. I know I wanted to do the RTT recap, but frankly, I think explaining how these guys are going to be utilized and how I use them basically recaps the RTT, right? I'll throw some highlights on how I use them in the event or whatever. I will use some of the similar boards, but I really wanted to highlight the package of the 3x4 Brotherhood Terminators that I was using that has been incredibly good for me, to the point where I think it's like almost an auto include in any list that needs to hold objectives for Grey Knights. So like Take and Hold Warp Bane, I think, is good for 3 of them. Priority Assets is good for 3. Hollow Conclave is good for 3. So I wanted to really get out there and show you guys what it is. So as always, like and subscribe. Please join the membership down below if you want to support the channel even further. And then also, I do coaching if you guys are interested in getting some more coaching about Grey Knights or any other faction that I am comfortable with. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about why the 4-man Brotherhood Terminator package is so broken. So number one, what is the actual package of the guys? So the package that I've been playing in Priority Assets at least has been 3x4 Brotherhood Terminators with Incinerators, and then 2x5 Strike Marines with side cannons. You can play them with any weapon you want or with no weapon. This isn't banished for Priority Assets. However, the same exact package I will be taking into Warpbane Task Force or Hollow Conclave if I chose to play Hollow Conclave as well for the Take and Hold or Priority Assets disposition packs. I don't think that it's necessary for Purge the Foe. I don't think it's necessary for Recon, but for the big ones that I really like to play for Grey Knights, which is Priority Assets and Take and Hold, the package is 3x4 Brotherhood Terminators with your choice of weapon that is not a side cannon, and then the Strike Squad with any choice of weapon package at all. And that package is essentially going to be responsible for scoring all of your points, which is incredibly valuable to have a unit that does just score all the points, does all the dirty work, and that frees up the rest of your list, whether you're playing Warpbane with a bunch of guns or Brotherhood Strike with a bunch of Paladins, not Brotherhood Strike, Banishers with Argent Assault with a bunch of Paladins. All of that gets freed up to do whatever it wants because of this package on the board, and let's talk about kind of its utility and what it is going to be trying to do. However, before we go into kind of what I'm going to be doing with it physically on the table, let's talk about its characteristics and why this package is just so strong in Warhammer 40k. So the 4-man Brotherhood Terminator, right? It is 140 points, which is incredible. It's actually, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the cheapest Terminator package in the game, except maybe 4-man Custode Guard, but I think ours are better at this role for what it's worth. So it's 4 dudes, which is a really small footprint, which is fantastically useful, right? It is 140 points, which is a very good price. It is OC 12, which is a very important breakpoint. So to me, in Warhammer, there is 2 really important breakpoints that you want to get to with OC. One of them is 6 and one of them is 11. So the main reason that we want to go to OC 6 is because OC 6 beats out anything that is a fast moving OC 5 idiot thing that wants to go tap onto our objective and deny us or contest us, right? So for OC 6, that means we deny it. Then the next breakpoint is OC 11, because there are some fast moving things in the game that are OC 2 piece with 5 guys. So they're going to get to OC 10. So by having access to a manipulatable 12 OC package, you can really force your opponent to not ever be able to take your expansion objective. They can't take your expansion objective, or realistically, in like the split board layouts, if you put the 4 Terminators on your split board on your side, they're not going to usually be able to take that on turn 1 either. So that helps you kind of guarantee a high point score package from that. Okay, so other things, right? So that's just the OC part of it. Okay, now the other part of it is that they basically lose to nothing that wants to come out in the early game of Warhammer 40,000. So what I mean by that is, between Banisher strats and Hollow Conclave strats, that unit can just basically survive anything that wants to go hit you and deny your OC. So we've already established there's essentially next to nothing in Warhammer outside of like a Taurox dumping a bunch of guardsmen onto your objective that out OC you, right? So now the next option our opponent would have would be to come up, charge you, or shoot you and try and kill you. So number one, the shooting part, we're going to be hidden 12. We're going to be hidden 12, so they're going to have to go outrageously far to shoot us. And there is such few things in the game that can go that fast and shoot hard enough to kill 4 Terminators that it's basically a non-issue. And frankly, if something is fast enough and shoots hard enough to kill 4 Brotherhood Terminators, we're okay with the killing 4 Brotherhood Terminators, right? Because now that thing is on our side of the table, and we get to kill it with our army from generally a safe position, okay? So next is if they charge into you with, like, you know, they can't charge into you with JPI. JPI will lose that fight every single time. You know, Warp Spiders never kill you with shooting. Storm Boys never ever kill you. None of that stuff out OCs you. I fail to come up with a very good early game package that is going to be able to shift you off an objective without our opponent overcommitting. And that, my friends, is the key to the value of this unit. The overcommitment of our opponent to have to shift this thing is the actual key to why this unit is so good, in my opinion, at doing what it's doing for us. So one of them is fine, right? Like, one of them is still really good. And frankly, if you're playing currently 0, I would highly suggest that you play at least 1x4 Brotherhood Terminator in your list. However, if you are on the take and hold of priority assets train like myself, I would deeply suggest that you try 2x4 or go with what I've been playing, which is the 3x4, because it just solves all of your problems. Also to mention, guys, your OC3 and your AP3 against non-monster vehicles early game. So what are the things that AP3 is good against? Well, things without an invulnerable save. So again, JPI, you know, things with a 3-up armor, things with a 4-up armor. You're going to go straight through their save. You're going to kill them straight up. You're still strength 6. You're still AP3/AP2 and damage 2. So you're just an incredibly good skirmish piece. Now, combine that with being hidden 12, being able to advance and charge in banishers, being able to miss in banishers. This unit just solves all of your problems, and I want to hop on the table in TTS and show you exactly how I'm using this full package of the 3x4 Brotherhood Terminators, so that you guys can take it, try it in your games, and hopefully you guys have the same level of love that I do for this package, because I'm going to be playing this until the brakes are blown off of it. And you know, if it gets nerfed, it gets nerfed. But so far, this has been one of the strongest things that I have currently played in 11th edition in terms of a scoring package. Hey guys, what's up? So here we are in TTS. I'm going to be going over sort of the kind of the principles of this scoring package. So we're going to be including the Strike Marines in here as well, and then the 4x4 tournament. So this is essentially the scoring package. Basically, the Rhino is a little bit of an extra thing that I have been personally playing, but basically you've got one strike squad here. On every board, they can essentially double sticky in some capacity, whether it's your home in the middle or like 2 in the middle or whatever. I find this to be very valuable because if I don't want to sit on the middle for whatever reason, it gets me around secure no man's land and other things like that. And if I really want to, I can theoretically scout 6 to here, right, and then roll in advance, and then try and get onto this thing with my normal move, needing a 1 on the advance, or 1 on the advance to go get for a position if I don't want to have to deal with it. And remember, we're playing Banisher, so we can kind of shove a 1 unit up early in the game and it won't die, right? So for me, my opening, really what I like to do on all these boards is I really like having one of the 1x4 Terminators kind of pointed at my opponent's expansion. Now, that is a little bit dependent on the board to some degree, right? But in this board specifically, this is against Taken Holds. This is a board that you will likely see a reasonable amount if you are piloting Grey Knights. But essentially, you want to get these guys right into this pocket here. The fun thing is a 6 gets them essentially right there, which is really nice. So on a 2+, you kind of get really nice into that pocket there. So in this example, we're going to get a 5. So we're going to go all the way up to this spot right here, right? Now, this is a very cool spot because what this does is it says if our opponent wants to kind of approach reasonably far up on this expansion to sort of screen us out, we then can just do kind of an advance and charge play, like move 5 plus an advance and charge to charge onto this with our 12 OC, and most likely kill it, because odds are this is maybe not a huge investment unit on our opponent's part. Or option 2, we just can, if he puts a bunch of OC kind of on this backside right here, we can either A, pick them up and then deep strike them right here to take the objective from him, or we can roll in advance with it if he screened it out and just kind of run our OC of dudes sort of right here into this pocket. Now, I've actually found that both scenarios happen quite frequently in my game, so you'll find that this unit kind of running at your opponent's expansion on a lot of the layouts is actually going to be very valuable, because it is going to do a reasonable amount of damage with 16 attacks at 632 against most targets. It's got maybe sustained, maybe lethal hits. It's got advance and charge. It's got a bunch of really cool ways to sort of flip this objective. And not to mention, if you run in, kill the thing, and stand on it, you're almost certainly going to get missed, because another cool thing about this package is everybody's going to give you miss with this. Okay, if you're playing the 10-man paladins, like everyone's gonna dodge and make sure they don't trigger the mist on the 10-man paladins. But if you're up there being really aggressive with these small packages, I guarantee you from experience, people will look at it and be like, ah, well, it's not worth skipping my whole movement phase to deal with that. So they're gonna move up, give you mist, and you can leave the table, and it creates a really, really cool tempo for you as you're playing in kind of standard-ish games of 11th edition. So this one over here, so what I like to do is I like to roll in advance with this one and try and get up into this pocket. So for example, in this example, we're going to get a 4, so that's going to go 9 inches. I really like getting it really, really far up here out of this pocket for almost the same principle as the other one. Now keep in mind, you want to make sure that you get hit in 12. So in order for him to see you fully, he would have to get a unit essentially to right here to see you fully. So you just want to pre-measure that and make sure you're not going to get totally cooked on a shooting activation. However, it's very easy to manipulate this angle so it doesn't exist. And then most people are not going to want to send a thing down this way for this to maybe not kill it, and also for what it's worth can charge it back. And this is doing the same exact thing as this one over here. It's essentially projecting a realistic threat into this pocket right here. So if our opponent does stage a unit kind of right here, we are then able to do kind of a realistic normal move and charge into that pocket and be super, super annoying. The other 4-man unit, they're going to run right here. Now on Priority Asset Forsaken Hold, you need to do the action with one of these 2 units. So just make sure that you do not advance this and do not advance this. You want to just only advance one of them. For me though, usually what I'll do is I go Scout 6, Scout 6, Scout 6, Scout 6. Come on, guys. You can stand up. Warriors of Titan. So then like this. And then now when you do your normal move, you're just able to go 6-inch normal move, 6-inch normal move, 6-inch normal move. And now you've kind of replicated what you want to do with your 10 OC and sticky. And then you also can push the button with this unit on your first turn. Notably, depending on how your opponent is kind of playing their guns, you can actually finesse hit in 12 here. Depending on how you have your guys modeled, you can definitely you can, on most cases, swing a halberd or a sword kind of around this corner right here so that you will have hidden 12 down this angle, which also notably gets hit realistically by this unit as well, which is super, super cool with kind of the whole package. And then the scout package here, I like to just scout at 6, see what secondaries I draw. And then if I want to be super annoying, I actually will shove the rhino basically right here with my guys getting out to be like right here. So that way the rhino just stands here and my opponent can't really stand on the objective unless they charge a rhino, and they end up in a really weird position. This is kind of a cheeky play. I don't really do that often, but generally what I'll do is I'll scout the rhino, see what secondaries I get, and then I'll usually scout the rhino back right here. And fun fact, if you lean the rhino a bit this way, his line of sight onto you basically does not exist, even if he touches that terrain piece right here all the way down like this. So your rhino is pretty much invisible right here because of this ruin. So it ends up being really, really solid setup for you here. So let's talk about if we go second now. So if we go second, we do this a little bit differently. So number one, you just basically pick this unit up, and you pick this unit up generally, and then you pick up the paladin, or you just pick up one of these guys so that way you can have a deep strike threat for it, and then you pick up both of your 10-man paladin bricks to get them kind of loaded up in outer space. And then the rhino scouts here to this invisible spot, and these guys still realistically do a very similar scout this way, except I don't generally sticky my home here. I will just go like this to make sure he's safe one way or another. And if he has to go on the objective, he has to go on the objective to get hidden. Okay. And for the rest of the game now, you're just kind of playing the same exact thing. You're just kind of a turn behind. And then we're just going to walk these guys up to make sure we have 12 OC. And the key question that we're always going to ask our opponent about this package basically is how much OC can you put in this point? And if they go 6, then we're going to make sure that we put 9. If they go I can put 10, we're going to make sure that we put 12. And then if they go okay, I can only put 5, then we're very much okay with just putting 6 onto the point here. And we do not need to run up super far because we already are holding the objective. And if they want to try and run at you all the way on the turn number 2, all rapid ingress will be turned on, which is a very, very key thing. So just for example, let's say he had Gaskell right here. For what it's worth, you would actually drop in right here and shoot him, but let's just say that we can't. And that's another thing to factor in as well. Like a lot of these staging points, our 10-man paladins can almost always drop in and shoot them, right? Catch a line of sight on these staging points on the big units, right? So it's like not necessarily they can stand there with a big unit. But for this example, like even if he does run up, with like a 10 or 11 inch move, right, we still are able to basically rapid ingress like our big unit right here and sort of defend ourselves on this objective and kill him back. Now that's if he charges us with a huge unit that can actually threaten us, right? If it's garbage, we out OC garbage, right? And garbage can't kill us. Like say it was 10 boys, for example, right? These 10 boys, granted, this is 20 OC, but if he runs on here, right, that's 20 OC, I suppose. Orcs are one of the few armies that can put that much OC. But what we can do is we can even just we can rapid ingress to overwatch it. We can not overwatch it. We can rapid ingress to come charge it. We can just have this unit walk up next turn and kill it. You know, we could have foreseen that he's going to put 20 OC worth of boys, right? Like if he had postured like a boy unit kind of right here, and we're like, okay, I don't want to invest my unit to go kill it. I can just literally drop another freaking 12 OC of Terminators here. Now I have 24 OC on this objective, and he can't, now his boys just can't ever kill us, and they can't come take the objective from us, right? And then on the other side of the table, that's when we kind of play with this unit with a normal move still, and then we start playing on our rapid ingress kind of across the board. But essentially, guys, the 4-man Brotherhood Terminators are always going to be what people run into. They're always going to be what take the hit. And I think the more games you play with them, the more really, really cool things you're going to see with them. Use them for everything. Basically have one of them kind of be nailed down to your expansion objective, and the other two you really just want to use to do the most annoying and useful things possible. That's going to set your opponent back and kind of tee the game up for your 10-man, your 2 10-man paladin units to kind of go win the game. Hopefully I'm going to start doing some more games for you. My terrain is coming back painted, so that's why I haven't been doing streams. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Try 10-man paladins, try 4-man Terminators, get on the table, mess around in TTS, map some stuff out, and best of luck to you. I really, really, really think this is good, and I think you guys should try it.